Welcome to Vivid Verses. If our words resonate with you, please subscribe, tap the like, and share your thoughts and your feelings in the comments. Now let's begin. You have to understand the baseline before you can spot the deviation. In my line of work, that's the difference between a profitable quarter and a lawsuit. If you don't know what the load-bearing walls look like when they're stable, you won't notice the hairline fracture until the roof comes down. I was dealing with a structural issue, but not the one inside the apartment yet. I was focused on the Lewisham property. The project was 3 weeks behind schedule, and the margins were bleeding out. The contractor, a guy named Miller, was trying to run a game on me. It was a classic squeeze: bid low on the labor to get the contract, then inflate the material costs once the walls are open and the owner feels committed. Miller claimed he needed an extra $4,000 for unforeseen damp proofing. I had the survey from the purchase on the screen in front of me. The damp proofing had been done in 2019 with a 20-year guarantee. Miller wasn't fixing a problem. He was testing my memory. He was probing the perimeter to see if I was paying attention. This is the work. It isn't glamorous. It's just constant vigilance against entropy and opportunism. You check the invoice. You cross-reference the dates. You make the phone call. You don't get angry. You just apply pressure until the other side aligns with reality. My phone buzzed on the desk. A single vibration against the hardwood. That usually means a text or a direct message. I ignored it. I was in the middle of drafting a clause for the new lease agreement, specifically regarding tenant liability for water damage. You have to be specific with liability, or you end up paying for someone else's negligence. 10 minutes later, it buzzed again. Then a third time. Patterns matter. A single notification is information. A cluster of notifications is an event. I unlocked the phone. I didn't open the app immediately. I looked at the banners. Instagram, at Sarah_Jenkins, and 45 others like your post. At David_Fit commented, fire, fire, fire. At user9921 commented, damn. I knew what this was. I didn't need to see the image to know the content. The metadata told the story. High engagement velocity within the first hour implies skin. It implies a provocation. It implies that the asset is being advertised. I opened the app. The photo was high resolution. She'd taken it in the hallway mirror, but she'd staged it. The lighting wasn't ambient. She dragged the ring light out of the closet and set it up just out of frame to catch the highlights in her hair and the sheen on her clavicle. She was wearing the black dress we bought for the firm's charity gala next week. The neckline plunged. The slit went up the thigh, but it wasn't the dress. It was the pose. She had her hip cocked to exaggerate the waist-to-hip ratio. Her lips were parted slightly. It wasn't a smile. It was an invitation. It was a look designed to stop a thumb from scrolling. It was a look designed to extract resources, specifically attention, from the marketplace. The caption was innocuous. Feeling myself today. Sparkles. That's the plausible deniability. You post a photo that screams, look at my body, but you caption it with something about internal emotional states. If anyone calls you out on the solicitation, you can pivot to, I'm just expressing my confidence. It's a defensive hedge. It's a legal loophole in the social contract. I looked at the timestamps. Posted 40 minutes ago. 300 likes. I scrolled the comments. Unreal. Where have you been hiding this? Lucas is a lucky guy, for now. That last one was a passive-aggressive dominance play by a guy who likely makes $40,000 a year and leases his BMW. I put the phone down. I felt the spike in cortisol, the biological imperative to guard the mate, but I suppressed it. Reacting to the biological trigger is a rookie mistake. It's what she wants. It's what the app wants. If I get angry, I validate the mechanism. If I get possessive, I validate the competitors. I went back to the lease agreement. I had to clarify the clause. I wasn't going to participate in the auction. She came home right as the sun was going down. I hadn't turned the lights on in the living room, so the glow from my laptop was the dominant light source. She made an entrance. Usually, she slips her shoes off and walks quietly to the bedroom. Tonight, she let the door slam. She dropped her keys on the console table, metal on wood, sharp and loud. She walked into the living room with her heels still on. Clack, clack, clack. She wanted to be seen. She was carrying the energy of the 300 likes. She was inflated. The dopamine hit from the digital feedback loop was peaking. She was walking around with a phantom entourage of 500 men, and she felt powerful. Hey, she said. Her voice was pitched slightly higher than usual. Expectant. Hey, I didn't look up from the spreadsheet. I was calculating the yield variance on the property if I increased the rent by 5%. She walked past me into the kitchen. I heard the fridge open, then close. She didn't get anything. She was just creating movement. She walked back into the living room and stood near the television. She was blocking my view of the wall, forcing herself into my peripheral vision. Long day? She asked. Standard. Miller is trying to charge me for timber he didn't buy. I have to drive down there tomorrow and physically count the beams. Sounds stressful. It's not stressful. It's just logistics. People try to steal. You stop them. That's the job. Silence. This was the gap. She was waiting for me to bring it up. She wanted me to say, I saw your picture. You look incredible. Who are these guys? She wanted the validation of my desire, mixed with the validation of my anxiety. She wanted to know that her market value had risen and that I was aware of the threat to my asset. She wanted the conflict because the conflict proves she matters. I typed a number into the cell. Did you go on Instagram today? She asked. There it was. She couldn't hold the silence. The ROI on her post wasn't complete until she cashed it in with me. The public validation is the currency, but domestic reaction is the goods she wanted to buy with it. Briefly, I said, saw some market updates. What? I posted a picture. I saw it. And what? She let out a breath. It was a sharp exhale, signaling frustration. She uncrossed her arms and put her hands on her hips. And you didn't like it. You didn't comment. You haven't said a word about it since I walked in the door. I stopped typing. I closed the laptop lid slowly. You have to give these moments your full attention, not because they're valid arguments, but because if you are distracted, you look dismissive. Dismissiveness breeds resentment. I needed to be surgical, not dismissive. I didn't realize it required a review, I said. I thought the internet had it covered. You seem to be doing well with the engagement metrics. That's not the point, Lucas. What is the point? The point is that you're my boyfriend. You're supposed to be the one hyping me up. I have random strangers giving me more love than you do. It's embarrassing. Embarrassing for whom? For me. It makes me feel like you don't appreciate what you have. She was moving into the manipulation phase. It's a standard triangulation tactic. She creates a competitive environment, the internet strangers, to devalue my current contribution and force me to increase my output, compliment/attention. It's basic negotiation. If you want a higher salary, you show your boss an offer letter from a competitor. But I don't negotiate with terrorists, and I don't negotiate with algorithms. I stood up. I needed to reset the physical dynamic. Sitting while she stands puts me in a submissive position. Standing up levels the field. I walked over to the sideboard and poured a glass of water. Let's look at the logistics of this, I said, keeping my voice flat. You posted a photo. The objective of the photo was to solicit attention. Is that correct? I was just expressing myself, she snapped. I like the way I looked. Why does everything have to be a strategy with you? Because everything is a strategy, Olivia. Whether you admit it or not. You chose the dress. You chose the angle. You chose the time of day to post for maximum algorithmic reach. You solicited attention from the public marketplace. You received that attention. You have hundreds of men validating you. So why are you angry at me? You got what you wanted. Because I want your attention. No, you have my attention. You have my attention when we wake up. You have it when I pay the mortgage. You have it when I listen to you talk about your dad's health issues for 2 hours. That is attention. That is investment. I turned to face her. What you want right now isn't attention. You want competition. You want me to look at those comments and feel threatened. You want me to see Dave_Jim_fit with his fire emojis and worry that I'm going to lose you. You want me to dance for you because you think the audience makes you valuable. I don't want you to dance, she said, her voice wavering slightly. I just want to feel beautiful. Is that a crime? You never tell me I'm beautiful anymore. I told you on Tuesday when you came out of the shower with no makeup and your hair wet. I told you were beautiful then. But that didn't count, did it? That's different. It is different, I agreed. That was real. That was private. It was just us. There was no audience. There was no dopamine hit from a counter going up. You didn't care about my opinion then because you couldn't leverage it for social status. She grabbed her phone from the table. She held it up like a weapon. Look at this, she said. She scrolled. This guy says I look like a model. This guy says he'd drive 3 hours just to buy me a drink. These people see my value. You just see, I don't know, you just see a roommate. I see a partner, I said. Those men don't see you at all. They see me enough to compliment me. They are using you, I said. It came out harsher than I intended, but it was the truth. You need to understand the transaction. You are providing visual stimulation. They are paying you with low-effort digital tokens. They're scrolling past you while they sit on the toilet, Olivia. They're ignoring their wives and their kids to look at your thigh for 3 seconds before they scroll to a video of a car crash. Do you really think that is value? She went quiet. She looked down at the screen. You are confusing consumption with appreciation, I continued. To them, you are content. You are a product. They consume the image. They get a little spike of arousal. They hit a button and they move on. They don't know you. They don't know you get migraines when the barometric pressure drops. They don't know you're afraid of failure. They don't care. If you died tomorrow, they would just follow the next girl in the algorithm. That's mean, she whispered. It's reality. I'm the only one in this equation who actually knows you. But you're asking me to join the crowd. You wanted to be fan number 301. I won't do it. She sat down on the edge of the sofa. The energy was leaking out of her. The high from the likes was crashing into the reality of the conversation. So what? She asked. I'm just supposed to be invisible? I'm supposed to wear a sack and never post anything? It's modern life, Lucas. Everyone does it. I don't care what everyone does. Look at the data. Everyone is miserable. Anxiety is through the roof. Relationships are falling apart because people are addicted to external validation. I'm not interested in a relationship with everyone. I'm interested in a relationship with you. I leaned against the wall. Here's the problem, Olivia. It's the Instagram paradox. The more you seek validation from strangers, the less you value the validation from your partner. It's inflation. If 1,000 men tell you you're a goddess, my voice saying you look nice becomes worthless. It's simple economics. Supply and demand. You are flooding the market with access to yourself, and then wondering why the value of intimacy has dropped. I like knowing I still have it, she admitted. I like knowing that if I walked into a bar, heads would turn. I know, I said. It's insurance. It's a backup plan. If things go wrong with us, you know you have options. It makes you feel safe. She looked at me, surprised. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. That's what it is. You're hedging your bets. You're keeping the market warm, just in case. But you can't build a solid house if you're constantly checking the exit strategy. I walked over to her. I didn't touch her. I just stood close enough that she had to look up at me. I value modesty. Not because I'm some old-fashioned prude, but because I value exclusivity. I want to know that the best parts of you are reserved for us. If you give it all away for free to the public, what is left for me? What is the privilege of being your boyfriend if I get the same view as Dave_Div_fit. He doesn't get the same view, she said. He gets the view you gave him today, and he got it for free. And you fought with me because I didn't applaud it. I checked the time on the wall clock, mentally calculating. I still had to finish the audit before morning. You have a choice, I said. You can have the cheap dopamine of the crowd. You can have the likes and the fire emojis and the fleeting attention of men who want to use you. But it's a bottomless pit. You will never get enough. Tomorrow you'll need 400 likes to feel the same high. Or where you can have the security of a real life. You can have a man who actually sees you, who protects you, and who values you enough to tell you the truth even when it upsets you. But you can't have both. You can't invite 1,000 men into our relationship and expect me to be okay with it. Every time you open that door, you push me out. She looked at the phone in her hand. The screen lit up with another notification. She stared at it for a long time. I didn't think about it like that, she said. I just thought it was fun. It's not fun. It's an addiction. And it's eroding the foundation of this relationship. I went back to the table and opened the laptop. I have to finish this audit. Miller is going to try to stonewall me tomorrow, and I need the facts lined up. She didn't move for a minute. Then she tapped the phone. She went into the settings. I didn't watch her, but I heard the interface sounds. Then she set the phone face down on the coffee table. I'm going to go change, she said. This dress is uncomfortable anyway. Okay, do you want to order food later? Maybe Thai. Thai is fine, but check the delivery fee. Last time they added a service charge that wasn't on the menu. I'll check, she said. She walked toward the bedroom. She walked softer this time. The performance was over. I looked at the spreadsheet. The numbers were clean. The logic held up. That's the thing about logic. It doesn't care about your feelings, but it will save you from ruin if you listen to it. I highlighted the discrepancy in Miller's invoice. I had him. He thought he could distract me with noise, but I was looking at the structure. This is the reality of the situation. You cannot build anything of value on a foundation of shifting sand. Whether it's a property portfolio in South London or a relationship in a high-rise, the principles remain the same. You have to audit the inputs. You have to verify the materials. And when someone tries to sell you something counterfeit, whether it's a contractor selling dry rot treatment that was already done or a partner selling a thirst trap as self-expression, you have to call it out. Olivia came back out 10 minutes later. The transformation was complete. She was wearing gray sweatpants and an oversized t-shirt I'd gotten from Supplier Expo 3 years ago. Her hair was pulled back. The makeup was gone. She looked tired, but she looked real. She didn't look like an advertisement anymore. She looked like the woman I lived with. She sat on the other end of the sofa, tucking her legs under her. She picked up a paperback book she'd been reading for a month. She didn't reach for her phone. The room was quiet, but it was a different kind of quiet than before. The earlier silence had been charged, static electricity waiting for a spark. This silence was neutral. It was the sound of equilibrium returning. I typed out the email to Miller. Regarding invoice number 4092, please reference the attached damp proofing guarantee dated August 2019. The charges for remedial timber treatment are redundant. Please revise and resubmit by close of business tomorrow. Short, fact-based, no emotion. I hit send. I looked over at Olivia. She was reading, but I could tell she wasn't absorbing the words. Her eyes weren't moving across the page. She was processing the dismantling. It's a painful process, having your ego stripped of its artificial armor. It leaves you feeling exposed. You were right, she said, without looking up from the book. About what? About the validation. It wears off fast. I posted it, I got the rush, and then 20 minutes later, I felt anxious because the likes slowed down. And then I got mad at you because I needed another hit. It's a cycle, I said. The algorithm is designed to make you anxious. Anxious people check the app more often. She closed the book. It's just hard. You see everyone else getting this praise, this attention. It makes you feel like you're falling behind if you aren't playing the game. That's the illusion, I told her. You're looking at their highlight reels. You aren't seeing the reality. You aren't seeing the girl with 10,000 followers who cries herself to sleep because she's 32 and single, and the only attention she gets is from bots and creeps. You aren't seeing the leverage. Leverage. Everything has a cost. If you build your self-worth on your appearance, you're investing in a depreciating asset. Gravity always wins. Time always wins. If that's all you have, you go bankrupt. You have to invest in things that hold value. Character, loyalty, competence, our relationship. She looked at me. Do you think I'm vain? I think you're human. And I think you're living in a digital environment that is weaponized to exploit vanity. It's not a moral failing, Olivia. It's a security vulnerability. You have a hole in your firewall, and the world is pouring in. She nodded slowly. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be the girl who needs the crowd. Then don't be. Close the loop. Keep the circle small. Quality over quantity. I closed the laptop. The work was done for the night. The invoice was disputed. The lease was drafted. The relationship was recalibrated. Let's get that food, I said. She smiled. It was a small smile, but it was genuine. High place. No service charge. Good. We ordered the food. We ate at the table, not in front of the TV. We talked about the Lewisham project, about the logistics of the timber delivery, about her brother's new job. Real things. Tangible things. Later, getting ready for bed, I saw her phone on the nightstand. It buzzed once. She didn't look at it. She turned off the lamp and rolled over, pulling the duvet up to her chin. Good night, Lucas. Good night. I lay there in the dark, listening to the city outside. Sirens, traffic, the low hum of millions of people all trying to find some signal in the noise. Most of them were looking in the wrong places. They were shouting into the void, hoping for an echo. I wasn't shouting. I was building. You lay the bricks, you check the level, you pour the mortar. It's slow. It's boring. It doesn't get likes. But when the storm comes, and the storm always comes, the house stands. Miller would call in the morning. He would bluster and complain. He would try to negotiate the unnegotiable. I would hold the line. I would point to the contract. I would point to the facts. And eventually, he would fold. Because reality always wins in the end. You just have to be patient enough to wait for it. I closed my eyes. The structural integrity was sound. We were safe. Thank you for listening. That brings today's story to a close. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. See you next time.